I'm Eva O, and this is the Teakink podcast. I've been a dominatrix since 2011, and I would like to spill the tea on my life. Thank you for listening.
Season 3 of the teakink podcast, starting now. I started this a few months ago now, and I did it mostly because I'm waiting for things to happen in terms of some TV projects, and I needed a creative outlet in between, something to keep me occupied. And keep me occupied, it has indeed. Not only has it been a wonderful exercise in terms of being able to speak to you, in terms of being able to share, but I didn't realize how much it would touch you. And I'm really grateful for that. I think the whole point of doing any of these public things is to demystify my world and to help people understand the person and the reality behind my work, behind the industry of sex work. And so I think that based on many of the things that you've said, and people come up to me in public, and it seems to have touched people outside of my industry in ways that I didn't quite imagine. And this has been a little bit intimidating because when people come up to you and say that they've been listening to you alone in their homes, it's this intimacy that I was naive not to realize. And I'm still a little bit floored by that I get to be alone with you in your ears. And also to those who are watching on Spotify and YouTube, in your eyes. And I'm still navigating that. But for the most part, it's been very exciting being able to formulate all of these memories and all of these opinions into a space where you can start to get a feeling for them and get a little closer to me, even though that is strange to me and intimidating. I'm happy to have a little bit of a mark and a bit of purpose to my experiments. But we start season 3, and in season 3, I'm going to take you through another interview with my main slave, which I loved doing. I'm going to talk to a fellow lifestyle dom who's also a friend of mine. I'm going to bring you into my thoughts around motherhood and being a dominatrix and my dating life and starting to be called mommy. What else are we going through on this one? This conversation that I had paralleling weddings and sex parties. I'm going to talk about all the sex parties that I've ever been to. I'm sure I won't be able to remember all of them, but I'm going to do my best. And maybe you'll find something interesting in there. And what else is there? What else is there? Probably a bunch of other things that I don't really remember. Also, I don't know if you've realized, but I do all of this pretty much off the cuff. I come up with a list of 12 things that I want to talk about on a season, titles, so to speak, and like a first sentence for these potential episodes. And then that's that. It's basically what it would be like if you were here sitting with me. And I much prefer that approach. I don't want to be too calculated about it. I think that's not really the point of me doing this. I have spoken to different people who are like, maybe it should be more about domination. It's a bit confusing because it's not just a story about domination and you as a dominatrix. And it's like, but that's the point, you know? It's about you understanding that, sure, there is this facet of who I am that's publicly known that is a dominatrix, but the reality of the total human is what is more important for me to get across, because I think that is what is lacking in understanding and therefore in being understood and being seen as somebody to relate to as opposed to somebody to idolize or see as an other, which I think is quite destructive, actually. We'll also be going into my mentorship calls that I do for people in the community, sometimes to do with work, sometimes to do with personal dilemmas, and the reactions that I've had to this, both positive and, do I want to say negative or do I want to say gatekeeping? We'll be going into that. And what else? What else? Oh, I finally also get to the Berlin travel episode, actually, because the last season I started to do this episode where I wanted to talk about all the different places that I found in Berlin to be interesting over my last 20 years of traveling there. But I got really sidetracked. And I started talking about the time when I was in Berlin and I hired a mistress for the first time. And I was the submissive, or at least, you know, I was bottoming as a paying client. And that's a great story if you haven't heard it. Just getting little flashbacks right now myself. And yeah, I'm not really sure what the next season is going to be like after this season 3. So what season 4 is going to look like. I feel like I've told a lot of stories and I really like telling stories. I definitely have a hell of a lot more, but I would like to do something a little different. In season 2, I did that really special episode where I went into Club Verboten, the sex club, the kink sex party, and they gave me so much access and I got to shoot with people in the scene and interview them. That was really fun, but I don't know whether I want to go and do like dropping into people's spaces just yet. I feel like maybe it could be something along the lines of you, perhaps. Maybe it'll be something like those Q&As I used to do on Instagram, but more pointed. Maybe I could take like a voice note from you and like riff off of that. Perhaps that's an idea. What do you think? Please tell me. I am definitely not running out of ideas, but I think I would like to start to widen the experiment a little bit more. I have really enjoyed doing my interviews, like the one with the interaction researcher on AI companionship for part 2 of my AI companion series of sorts. But yeah, it's been an incredible opportunity to like, it's kind of like an excuse, you know, like, hi, I'm doing a podcast. Can I please talk to you in a great intimate and deep detail immediately rather than do chit chat? Because I'm actually quite bad at chit chat. It frustrates me. Yeah, it's not really my format. I kind of like to explode concepts that make me question my reality fairly immediately. Is that good for a podcast format? Perhaps. Perhaps. But yes, welcome to season 3 of the Teakink podcast, where I, dominatrix Eva O, does whatever the hell I feel like from the comfort of my sofa. I think this is just going to be a little quick breather episode for us where I introduce you to what's ahead, and I'm going to get stuck into recording the rest of season 3 right now. So thank you for listening, and speak with you